How's it going? How is everything? That would be disingenuous. That would mean I was going to be friends and friendly. And I'm not going to be friendly.
He doesn't know who to blame, himself or one of the other wives. Cody's feeling a lot of rejection. And so I think he's kind of looking at me going, are you going to reject me too? And so I'm on my toes. I'm having to consistently make sure that he is not sabotaging our relationship.
Christine Brown's book isn't just a story. It's an explosive reveal of what really happens when love, faith, and jealousy collide inside a polygamous marriage. And trust me, once you hear this, you'll never look at Cody or Robyn the same way again. Christine opens up about Cody's constant rejection. He didn't know who to blame, himself, or one of his wives. And while Christine admits she always felt like she had to stay on her toes, one thing became clear: she was fighting to keep a relationship that Cody seemed determined to sabotage. But here's where it gets deeper. For years, Christine and so many others have spoken about the dark side of polygamy. On paper, it's supposed to be about unity and family. In reality, it often destroys a woman's confidence, her independence, and even her sense of worth. Women are expected to serve men, nothing more. And Christine? She finally started to see through the cracks. When Christine talks about her marriage, it's not just a story of heartbreak. It's a mirror reflecting the cracks in a system built on polygamy. For years, polygamy has been presented as a lifestyle of unity, faith, and eternal families. But Christine shatters that illusion. She reveals how damaging it truly is, especially for women. Think about it, in a plural marriage, women are expected to sacrifice constantly. Their self-worth is measured by how much they serve their husband, how obedient they are, and how well they accept other wives. But here's the catch: women aren't built to be silent shadows. They're individuals, with dreams, emotions, and a need for respect. Christine admits that this constant demand to play a role destroyed her confidence. Instead of being a partner in love, she felt like a competitor in a survival game. And honestly, who could blame her? Christine confesses that jealousy wasn't just a passing feeling, it became her constant companion. When Robyn entered the family, things got worse. Cody's attention shifted almost instantly. He wasn't just interested in Robyn, he was obsessed. He praised her beauty, called her sexy during photo shoots, and gave her the affection that Christine had craved for years. Imagine standing there, hearing your husband gush about another woman while you're left feeling invisible. And Christine did what so many women do in toxic relationships: she blamed herself. She thought, if I just lose more weight, if I look prettier, if I try harder, maybe he'll love me again. But let's pause for a moment here. Backhand index pointing right, viewers, have you ever noticed how manipulation works? The person in power makes you feel like you're the problem. But in reality, it was Cody who failed to treat Christine with love and respect. It wasn't Christine's weight or her looks, it was Cody's neglect. Now, it's easy for outsiders to blame Robyn. After all, she became Cody's favorite and, in Christine's words, his play toy. But Christine admits something powerful: her anger wasn't always placed on the right person. She says she often directed her frustration at Robyn when, deep down, she knew the real issue was Cody. Still, the constant comparison, the favoritism, and the unfairness made it almost impossible not to resent Robyn. And here's where it gets complicated. Christine wasn't always honest in her relationships. She admits she often faked being nice. To Robyn's face, she'd smile and act friendly. But inside, she was hurting, angry, and resentful. Think about the emotional toll of living like that, pretending to be okay while your heart is breaking. That disconnection makes trust almost impossible. Christine even acknowledges that maybe Robyn couldn't fully trust her, because she wasn't being authentic. This is what Christine's book really exposes: polygamy isn't about peace or spiritual growth. It's about survival. Women compete for love, attention, and basic respect. The system itself breeds hierarchy and rivalry. It pits wives against each other, not because they want to fight, but because the system forces them to. When affection is limited, when respect is conditional, jealousy becomes inevitable. And Christine? She became stuck in a cycle of comparison and pain. She doubted her worth, doubted her place in the family, and doubted whether Cody ever truly loved her. But here's where Christine's story takes a turn. She admits that while jealousy caused her pain, it also fueled her awakening. Watching Cody shower Robyn with affection forced her to face the truth. Her marriage was broken long before Robyn entered the picture. This realization was both painful and liberating. For years, she had worn rose-colored glasses, convincing herself that everything was fine. But Robyn's arrival tore those glasses off, and Christine could no longer deny the reality. Still, she also admits that she stayed far too long. She stayed because of faith, because of family, because of the children. But in staying, she also exposed her kids to the dysfunction of a loveless marriage. And that's something Christine struggles to fully take accountability for. And this is where readers, and viewers like us, can't help but ask, why didn't Christine leave earlier? She was neglected, rejected, and disrespected for years. She admits Cody was emotionally unavailable. So why stay? Christine answers this herself in the book. She didn't know she had to leave until the pain became unbearable. She stayed out of faith, out of habit, and out of hope. And while some may criticize her for waiting so long, it's also a reminder of how powerful conditioning and belief systems can be. Friends, let's step back for a second. Christine's story isn't just about one woman. It's about a broken system. It's about how manipulation, favoritism, and toxic traditions can trap people in painful cycles. Christine may not be perfect, she admits her flaws, her jealousy, and her coping mechanisms, but her courage to finally walk away? That's the real story here. And this is just the beginning. Because as Christine continues her story, the cracks in Cody and Robyn's so-called perfect love reveal something even darker. From infidelity claims to favoritism that tore the family apart, Christine's book doesn't hold back. Christine's story isn't black and white. It's not just Cody bad, Christine innocent. And she doesn't pretend it is. In fact, one of the most eye-opening parts of her book is when she admits her own faults, something many reality TV fans often miss. Christine writes about how she wore rose-colored glasses. On the outside, she played the role of the cheerful, supportive wife. But inside? She was hurting, angry, and struggling to keep her head above water. This wasn't just about faking smiles, it was a survival tactic. Denial became her coping mechanism. If she admitted the truth, that her marriage was crumbling, her entire reality would shatter. So instead, she clung to hope. She told herself maybe tomorrow will be better. But here's the hard truth, denial is a trap. It keeps you stuck in pain. And Christine knows this now, even if it took her years to see it. Backhand index pointing right, viewers. How many of you have ever held on to something just because the truth felt too painful to face? That's exactly what Christine did. Another striking point in the book is Christine's relationship with Robyn. Christine admits she wasn't always authentic. She would act nice, smile, and play the role of the friendly sister wife. But inside, she couldn't stand Robyn. And let's be honest, Robyn probably felt it. Imagine trying to build trust with someone who smiles to your face but secretly resents you. It's a recipe for disaster. Christine even admits that maybe Robyn never trusted her because she sensed that disconnection. Now, does this mean Robyn was innocent? No. Christine is clear that Robyn wasn't perfect either. But the tension between them wasn't one-sided. And that makes this story more complex than just the villain versus the victim. This is the question that keeps coming up, why did Christine stay so long? She admits that people ask her this all the time. Why not leave after season 1? Why not walk away when it became clear Cody didn't love her? Her answer is raw, she didn't realize she could leave until she finally did. For years, her faith, her family, and the pressure of the show kept her rooted in place. She convinced herself that leaving would mean failure. But here's the problem, by staying, Christine also exposed her children to the toxicity of Cody's neglect. And this is where her story becomes heartbreaking. Because even after everything, she struggles to acknowledge the full impact her choices had on her kids. She says she regrets nothing. But can any parent truly say that? Especially when their children lived through years of emotional neglect and dysfunction? Backhand index pointing right, viewers, what do you think? Can someone really claim to have no regrets after so much pain? Or is that just another form of denial? Christine's inability to admit regret might come from something deeper, her upbringing in a religious system that glorified suffering. She explains how, when her mother left their church, Christine doubled down on her faith. She wanted to prove her mom wrong. She became more devout, more pious, more convinced that if she suffered, God would reward her. And here's where the narcissism of polygamy shows itself. Christine believed, if I endure this pain, I'll be blessed. If I sacrifice, I'll be chosen. If I suffer, I'll be more worthy in God's eyes. But let's be real. That's not love. That's not faith. That's manipulation. Christine eventually began to see the cracks in that belief, but for years, it kept her trapped. It's the reason she stayed in a marriage that was slowly breaking her. One of the most powerful stories Christine shares is about Cody kissing Robyn before they were married. Christine was furious, not just because of the kiss, but because of what it symbolized. Cody had told her that no wife should witness his first kiss with another woman. He had agreed that it should be special. But then he broke that promise. For Christine, it wasn't just about physical intimacy, it was about betrayal. She realized Cody could give Robyn something he never gave her, genuine passion. And that cut deep. Imagine being married for years, only to watch your husband kiss another woman with the kind of love he never showed you. It wasn't just about jealousy, it was about finally seeing the truth she had been denying for so long. Christine's insecurity only grew as Cody openly adored Robyn. During photo shoots, he called Robyn sexy. He constantly praised her beauty. And Christine? She spiraled. She became obsessed with her weight, her appearance, and her flaws. She thought if she just became prettier, if she lost more weight, Cody might love her again. But that's the cruel part of emotional neglect. It convinces you that you're not enough, when in reality, the problem isn't you, it's the person withholding love. Christine eventually admits that her anger toward Robyn was misplaced. The real blame belonged to Cody. He set up the comparisons, he created the favoritism, and he allowed the jealousy to fester. But here's the kicker, Cody used Robyn as a weapon. He played into Christine's insecurities, making her believe that if she were more like Robyn, he might love her more. That's manipulation at its core. Let's pause here. Christine's story is not just about one marriage falling apart. It's about how emotional manipulation destroys people from the inside out. Cody made her feel like she was never enough. He used comparison as a weapon. And Christine, trapped in her faith and her fears, couldn't break free until she finally did. And that's the tragedy and the triumph of her story. But Christine's awakening is only half the story. Because the more she exposed Cody's favoritism toward Robyn, the more the world saw the truth. This wasn't just a broken marriage. It was an entire family system built on inequality, favoritism, and neglect. And the fallout? It would change everything. Christine's book doesn't just highlight her pain, it's also the story of her transformation. For years, she lived under the shadow of Cody's rejection and Robyn's favoritism. But by the end, Christine decides enough is enough. Christine recalls moment after moment where Cody made her feel unwanted. He openly adored Robyn while neglecting everyone else. He put Robyn on a pedestal, treating her as if she were the only wife that mattered. And what about the rest of the family? Christine and the other wives were left with scraps of attention. The children? They grew up witnessing neglect and favoritism that no child should have to endure. Christine admits that for years, she believed if she just tried harder, Cody would notice her again. But over time, she realized something brutal: you cannot force someone to love you. That's the turning point. Christine stops blaming herself, stops competing, and starts asking the hard question, why am I still here? What Christine exposes is more than just marital problems, it's a form of abuse. Cody didn't just love Robyn. He used that love as a weapon against his other wives. He made comparisons, showered Robyn with affection in public, and ignored the needs of the others. This favoritism created an environment of constant jealousy and rivalry. It wasn't just Christine versus Robyn, it was a broken system designed to keep women fighting each other instead of questioning the man in charge. And Christine finally saw through it. Christine writes that Robyn's arrival, while painful, woke her up. She realized her marriage with Cody had been weak long before Robyn entered the picture. This wasn't about one new wife stealing attention. This was about Cody failing to be a husband, failing to be a father, and failing to honor the promises he made. Christine admits she should have left earlier. She admits she stayed too long. But when she finally walked away, she didn't just leave Cody, she left an entire toxic system behind. And that decision? It wasn't just survival. It was liberation. One of the hardest parts of Christine's story is her reflection on her children. For years, her kids witnessed neglect and dysfunction. They saw Cody dismiss their mother, prioritize Robyn, and fail to show up as the father they needed. Christine admits this reality, but she also struggles with guilt. She says she has no regrets, but the truth is, her children lived through trauma they never should have faced. And that's something fans and readers often point out. How could Christine not acknowledge the full impact? Maybe it's denial. Maybe it's a coping mechanism. Or maybe, after everything she endured, Christine simply couldn't handle carrying more guilt. Christine's book isn't just about one marriage falling apart. It's about the dangers of polygamy itself. She exposes how the system devalues women, strips them of individuality, and forces them into roles they never chose. She explains how jealousy and competition are built into the foundation of plural marriage, and how it robs women of respect, agency, and peace. Her story shows that polygamy doesn't unite families. It tears them apart. In the end, Christine's greatest act of strength was leaving. She had been conditioned to believe she needed to stay, that suffering was holy, that sacrifice would earn her blessings. But eventually, she realized something radical: God doesn't want us to be miserable. That realization shattered everything she had been taught. And it set her free. Christine's journey is proof that leaving isn't weakness, it's power. It's choosing self-respect over suffering. It's choosing truth over denial. And most importantly, it's choosing to protect her children from a system that had already caused too much harm. Dost, here's the thing, Christine's story resonates because it's not just about her. It's about anyone who has ever stayed too long in a toxic situation. We've all been there, holding on to something broken because letting go feels impossible. But Christine's courage reminds us that no matter how deep the pain, no matter how long you've stayed, you can always choose freedom. Her story is messy. It's complicated. She admits her flaws, her jealousy, her denial. But that's what makes it real. Christine isn't perfect, but she's brave. And that bravery changed her life. Today, Christine is living proof that leaving doesn't mean failure. It means reclaiming your power. It means teaching your children that love should never come with conditions. And for Cody and Robyn? Their favoritism may have given them a short-term illusion of control, but in the end, it cost them everything. The family fractured. The truth came out. And Christine walked away stronger than ever. Christine Brown's book isn't just a memoir, it's a warning. A warning about the dangers of toxic systems, the cost of silence, and the power of denial. But it's also a story of hope. Because even after decades of rejection, jealousy, and pain, Christine proves that it's never too late to choose yourself. Let's be honest, Cody didn't just fall in love with Robyn. That was a choice. A deliberate decision. He chose to cross boundaries, to chase attention outside his marriage, and in doing so, he abandoned the very family he promised to protect. And Christine? She saw it all. She watched as her husband slowly turned into a man who valued one wife over the others, who demanded everyone else conform to Robyn's way of living because he thought life would be easier if they were all just like her. But here's the ugly truth: nobody should have to compete for love inside their own marriage. Christine's resentment toward Robyn wasn't born out of nothing, it was fueled by Cody's open favoritism. Cody showered Robyn with affection, praised her looks, and even wrote in his book that he wasn't attracted to Christine, calling her overweight. Imagine the humiliation. Imagine your husband not only rejecting you privately, but announcing it publicly to the world. Christine's self-worth took a hit. How could it not? While she tried to live by the rules, be faithful, and raise her kids, Cody flaunted Robyn as if she were the model wife. But here's where things twist even deeper. Robyn wasn't just Cody's favorite, she learned how to use that position. Christine describes Robyn as someone who played the victim to gain power. Every time tension rose, Robyn knew that if she cried, Cody would rush to her defense. She became untouchable, not because of fairness or love, but because she weaponized Cody's protectiveness. Robyn wasn't just sitting quietly. She was actively feeding Cody narratives, taking Christine's private confessions and running straight back to him, twisting words, shaping his mind, and slowly isolating him from the rest of the wives. It wasn't just favoritism anymore. It was strategy. Christine recalls pivotal betrayals. Like the time Robyn secretly went wedding dress shopping with Cody, behind everyone's back. Or when their engagement photos looked far more intimate than family rules ever allowed. Christine, who had tried to remain pious and chaste, was left blindsided. Robyn and Cody weren't just falling in love, they were rewriting the rules in real time, and then lying about it. Even later, Christine saw the same patterns, Cody buying Robyn diamond rings while refusing to replace Christine's broken one. Cody tucking in Robyn's kids every night, while neglecting his own children. Taking Robyn's kids out for meals and gifts, while Christine's kids were left overlooked. The message was loud and clear: Robyn's family mattered. Christine's didn't. At some point, Christine realized this wasn't just about love. It was a power game between two narcissists, Cody and Robyn. Cody pitted his wives against each other, while Robyn pitted Cody against the wives. Together, they created a toxic loop that destroyed trust, shattered relationships, and left Christine betrayed again and again. Christine also exposes Robyn's insatiable greed. She wanted more money, more attention, more gifts, and Cody kept giving it to her, even if it meant denying everyone else. Take the Flagstaff move as an example. Instead of being honest about the real reason, their son Dayton attending college, they concocted lies about safety and football teams. Another deception. Another decision that benefited Robyn at the expense of the family. Christine calls Cody and Robyn soulmates, but does she really believe that? Looking closer, it feels less like destiny and more like manipulation. Cody was infatuated with Robyn's looks, the prestige of having her as his trophy wife. Robyn, meanwhile, used Cody for financial stability and power. This wasn't a love story. This was survival, at everyone else's expense. Here's where Christine's story hits even harder. Yes, Cody and Robyn betrayed her. Yes, their favoritism and deception caused real pain. But beneath all of that lies a bigger truth: the system itself. Polygamy creates competition. It fosters jealousy. It forces women to fight for scraps of attention while a man plays the center of the universe. Christine often blames Cody and Robyn, and she's not wrong. But if you zoom out, the real villain might just be polygamy itself. Because without it, this entire dynamic of favoritism, betrayal, and secrecy might never have existed. And yet, through all of this, Christine found her awakening. Robyn's betrayals, Cody's favoritism, the lies, the greed, they broke her, yes. But they also woke her up. They showed her exactly what she didn't want for herself or her children. Leaving wasn't just an escape. It was freedom. So in the end, this isn't just about Cody's favorite wife or Christine's heartbreak. It's about a flawed system, toxic dynamics, and the resilience of a woman who finally said, enough is enough. Backhand index pointing right, call to action for viewers. What do you think, besties? Was Christine right to put most of the blame on Cody and Robyn? Or should she have gone even deeper and called out polygamy itself as the real villain here? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I can't wait to hear what you think. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss the latest breakdowns. See you in the next one.